One thing I just want to caveat this with is amplification only works if the thing that you're already doing is working. So what I don't want loads of you to do is put time, effort, energy, and money into something that you haven't got proof of concept for. So if you're not able to reach out to someone one-to-one, either at a networking event, on LinkedIn or whatever, and get them interested in starting a conversation with you and moving through phases. And really, I'd probably go as far as saying, if you haven't done that in a way that actually creates a client, then I don't want you to get so excited about amplifying, right? All I want you to focus on is starting conversations. So you'll hear me say this over and over again. In fact, in this intensive, I'm gonna get a few little stickers and things of quotes that you just need to remember throughout the rest of your life. One of them is that clarity comes from conversations. So those of you that feel unsure about your niche right now, or you're still in exploratory mode, the only way that you're gonna get clear, the only way you're gonna get clarity is when you have more conversations with people. And you have real conversations using the structure that we give you. If you have those conversations, you will understand whether the current offer you have or the current niche or the current whatever is the right one. You will not figure that out in your head. I can promise you, because I've been on that journey, right? And it will just drive you crazy. The only way is to get your ego out of the way and just be okay with people being like, nah, don't want that, sounds boring, not interested, wouldn't be valuable to me. Great, that's amazing feedback. So what would be valuable? What would be interesting? They're the questions that you need to be asking, right? So for all of you, you need to be having more conversations, but there's a point when you start having conversations and you have an offer and you're like, oh, I just sold one of these offers or I did this thing. And so if you want to amplify the amount of leads, essentially the amount of people that are interested in the thing, in the short term, in the next 30 to 60 days, there is actually only two ways to go about that. So just remember what I'm actually saying. Short-term amplification. So you will not get amplification from doing more one-to-one outreach. You can hand that off to someone else, but the outreach is the machine. The outreach is the thing that builds the relationships, day to day, week to week, month to month. That's the thing that should continually be running in the background no matter what. If you want an exponential growth, there are only two ways to do it. The first way is to pay for your audience's attention, right? To pay for your audience's attention. And typically that would be something like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, Google PPC, whatever it is, right? So you're putting your content, your offer or whatever in front of an audience that you hope is going to be responsive to that. So that's way number one. Now, the reason I don't like this is because I believe that those platforms make it unnecessarily complicated to get those results because then they make more money. If they make it just super easy for you to go, right, I'm gonna spend £10 and I'm gonna get 100 back, you're gonna do that less often. Think about it, because you spend £10, you get 100 back, you've done that, right? You put more money into it, but at some point you're gonna go, this is enough leads or this is whatever. So those platforms make it complicated for you. And it's like, oh, it's like gambling, right? That's kind of how they've made it. It's like sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. And they like to keep it like that so that you keep spending money and you keep playing the game. So unless you've got a shit ton of disposable income in your business right now that you want to experiment with and have a play with, I wouldn't suggest that paid ads are the best way to get in front of your target audience. So that means there's another way. The second way to make this exponential and to amplify is through partnerships, okay? And partnerships are just somebody who already has the attention and the trust of your ideal clients. When we're talking specifically about distribution, there's different types of partnerships, but in this context, we're talking specifically about distribution and lead generation. A lot of you have been spending time, let's say there's a bunch of your target clients over here, right? A lot of you have been spending time reaching out to that person and building energy, and each part creates time and energy, right? Time and energy is needed in order to build a relationship with someone. And this is good because you're experimenting and you're trying to figure out like what's working, right? So one-to-one is great, but it's not scalable because each one of these reach outs, each one of these conversations is taking you time and energy. So the way to leverage this is to actually just focus on building 1, 2, maybe even 3 relationships where each one of these people has an audience of 10, 20, 30, 1,000 people. Because then you need to build 3 or 4 relationships, not 30 or 40. And you get to build 30 or 40 relationships at scale. Because there's a couple of things that are happening here. Number one, you're leveraging your time and your energy. If you think about like one-to-one, well, I'm still doing one-to-one, but I'm building it with someone who's going to give me access to one-to-many. So that's the first thing. The second thing, and this is why I prefer partnerships versus paid ads, is because how many of you have seen an ad recently that basically says, hey, I can get you 10 new clients in the next 90 days guaranteed, or you don't pay me anything. So what is your first reaction when you see that? Yeah, bullshit, right? Because I know people that can actually deliver on that promise. What's the real problem? Why don't you click that ad and book a call straight away? It's not actually about what's the catch. That's what our mind says. Yeah, I don't trust them. I don't know or trust them. That's all it is. That's the only bit of missing gap. It's not just about it's too good to be true. Too good to be true is like, I don't really believe that I'm going to get this result, i.e. you're full of shit. But if you knew someone was going to guarantee that and you liked them and you trusted them, you would have your credit card out in a flash. So the reason I love partnerships is because you're doing a lot of that hard work. This person here, let's call them person A, right? They already have the know, like, trust factor with these people. So it's a bit like going to a party, and the difference between just going up to someone random and being like, hey, my name's Matt, nice to meet you, versus your friend going, oh, there's this really cool guy, Lee over here, I really think you should meet him. And my friend's already got an established relationship with Lee. When that person who's Lee's friend introduces me and says, this is Matt, I know him through X, Y, and Z, straight away, there's already trust. Because it's like, I know you, I like you, you're my friend, you're introducing me to someone, so they must be cool as well. And that's how partnerships work. So if you, like, I'll give you a really tangible example, and this is obviously at the fairly extreme end. And I want to actually give you like real numbers here. I don't want to just make this up, so just give me like 30 seconds. We had a video go on the Future YouTube channel last week. Yeah, so in less than a week, for our business, we have generated 426 leads. Who would like 426 leads in 7 days? That's through one video on one YouTube channel. Imagine if we were doing that 3 or 4 times, which is actually our next play, right? Is building more relationships like that. So each one of you has the ability to do this. Before I did this on this scale, I used to do it on a smaller scale. So when I first started my business, all I did was I knew who my target audience was, and I went around and I thought, who already has the know, like, trust factor with them? And there was different people. There was like accountants that had like that niche and et cetera, but the main one that was easiest was co-working spaces, right? Because small businesses and creatives were in co-working spaces. So I was like, right, I set my VA the task of finding like every single co-working space that had some kind of like creative vibe to it in the whole of the UK. And I just did a little tour. I did London, Leeds, Manchester, Newcastle, and I just pitched to them. I said, by the way, do you think any of your, first of all, do you have any creatives in your co-working? It's like, oh yeah, about 40%. Okay, cool. If I ran a lunch and learn where I showed them the 3 strategies that we're currently using to help freelancers make more money, have more time and more fulfillment, do you think people would show up? And there was a bit of conversation, but ultimately the answer was yes. And so that's all I did for like 6 months. Every single week, I was in a co-working space giving a presentation. Sometimes 6 people showed up, sometimes 30 people showed up. But I didn't do any work to get them there, right? Because I had built those partnerships. So The Get Shit Done session, and I'd encourage you to use ChatGPT for this right now. I think this would be valuable for everyone, no matter where you are, because you can always start more conversations, and you can actually start conversations with partners. So you can go to people that own co-working spaces and say, like, how well do you know the people that work in there? Do you know any creatives? Hey, like, would they be open to a really quick 10-minute conversation? I'm just doing some market research. I'm trying to find out like the things that frustrate creative freelancers the most about freelancing. So the Get Shit Done bit is right now, I need you all to come up with 5 people, organizations, entities, whatever you want to call them, that already have the attention and the trust of your ideal clients.